The upcoming release of the Nike Air Jordan 3 UNC has us asking that question, should you cop or should you not? And that's what we're going to be looking at in today's video, is whether or not that upcoming release is something that you need to go out there and get your hands on, or is something you should just let sit on the shelves. And how we're going to do that, and I'm glad that I can do that, is we're going to do that by looking at these. I keep talking about them. I have talked about them in the last 3 videos because I love them so much. These are the Nike Air Jordan 3 red cement 3s. Well, obviously. And I copped these a couple of weeks ago and I love them. I absolutely love them. But by contrasting these to the UNCs, you'll be able to decide for yourself if they are a cop or a not, because there are significant differences between the red cement 3s and the UNC 3s. And that's what we'll be looking at today when we decide if we're going to cop or not the Nike Air Jordan 3 UNC. This is the Tokyo by aj3 sneaker channel, Tokyo by aj3 sneaker channel des. Mainichi yatsuru no de, mainichi mite kudasai. And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneakers, sneaker releases, and sneaker news. And today what we're looking at is that upcoming release of the Nike Air Jordan 3 UNC. And we're asking the question is, are we going to cop these bad boys or are we not? Like I said, I just copped these Air Jordan 3s a couple of weeks ago. And part of the reason people watch my channel is because I'm on a journey to buy and learn about sneakers. To wit, he said, these, as many of you will know, are the first Air Jordan 3s I've ever owned. And maybe even more surprisingly than that, they're only the second pair of Jordans I've ever owned. And there are reasons why I had never owned Jordans before, and why it's taken me this long. I'm 43, so it's taken me this long in life to get to owning Jordans. And what I'll do is I'll throw a link to that video up here. But before I do that, I always talk about the links and say that you can check out those links at any time in the video and watch them at the end of the video. And what happens is that those links stay here throughout the video, and it's not just that 5 seconds that the link's up there that you've got a chance to grab it. You can watch it at any time in the video. So I'll throw up a link to the video that explains why I had never owned a pair of Jordans until last year when I bought the Bred 4s, and then these are my second Jordans, the red cement 3s. So here's that link. Check it out at any time during the video. And yeah, we're going to use that cement 3 to the red cement 3s to decide whether or not we're going to cop these 3s, the Air Jordan 3 UNCs. Now the UNC is to do with where Jordan went to college in North Carolina, I think it was, and the University of North Carolina, I think, UNC, University of North Carolina, and they are famous for their light blue, dark blue, white kind of colorway on things. I've seen a few different articles down the line, not just sneakers, but also Letterman jackets and things like that. They're in that light blue, dark blue, and white colorway, and that's what we've got right here with these UNC 3s, the light blue, the dark blue, and the white. And it's my main feature on the sneaker that I really appreciate is the dark blue, because the dark blue is hard to see, and I think when you get these in hand, you'll better be able to appreciate the dark blue on the sneakers, because on these pictures, you know, maybe behind me here, you're thinking, where's the dark blue? All I see is white, light blue, and black. But those black parts, which are lace stays and on the outsole and on the heel branding and things like that, they're actually dark blue as far as I can tell. And when you get them in hand, I think you'll get a better appreciation for that and be like, oh, actually that adds a layer to these sneakers that I hadn't actually appreciated before. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the sneaker part by part and decide whether or not it is a sneaker to go racing out there and make sure we get our hands on, or it's one we'd let sit on the shelves. And like I said, for me, I want to do that in contrast to the red cement 3s, because I've got the red cement 3s in front of me, and it's easier for me to talk about the UNC 3s and where they do and don't differ. And the first thing I want to mention is that there's one fewer color on the UNC 3s than there are on the red cement 3s, and that's because the upper is white. So the red 3s are red, obviously, and that red is an extra color in addition to white, black, and gray. But on these UNCs, that color is white, so you've got a very white sneaker, and that there is maybe one of the problems with the sneaker. I don't know if it's a problem, but it's just very plain. They had talked about having Tar Heel branding on the tongue and things like that to give it a bit extra pop, but they chose not to do that, and what we've got is a very, very white sneaker, although there are some interesting details on there. Now, looking at that upper first, it is that kind of typical 3, and hopefully you're able to see that here, the tumbled leather on the upper, and then that clear smooth leather on the lower half of the upper, and that's repeated behind me here. You can see in that white upper on the UNC 3s there. And then if we go into looking at the more detailed elements of the sneaker, I'm going to just hold this. Maybe, can I hold this here? I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I'll hold this here right now and try and explain. The 2 places I want to look at in terms of this area of the sneaker, the lace stays and the tongue, is about this lace stay area around here, which on these guys is in light grey. And that contrasts with the rest of the sneaker really nicely. When you look behind me here, the UNCs, it's in white. It is that perforated kind of effect in the lace stay area around there, and of course around the sort of top line here. It is that perforated effect, but it's in white, so it doesn't contrast the rest of the sneaker. It just sort of fits in there. And then those lace stays themselves are in that light blue UNC colorway, but if you look really carefully at the lower and the upper lace stays, you can actually see that they're in a dark blue and not a black. And then very close by, again to contrast with the red cement 3s, you've got that tongue with the embroidered Jumpman on there. Look closely at this Jumpman. Look into my eyes. Look closely at this Jumpman here. You can see it's red embroidered Jumpman on a grey tongue. And what we've got behind us here is a white tongue with a blue embroidered Jumpman. But the big feature that's different from other 3s, and particularly these 3s that I've got right here, is that there's actually a black outline around it. I think they put the black outline around it because light blue on white is 2 light colors and there's not really contrast, so the Jumpman kind of fades into the white. But then if they put a darker color, in this case black, but it might be blue actually now that I think about it, again a reason to get these in hand and see if that's dark blue line around the outside of the Jumpman instead of a light blue line, not a light blue line, a black line. But that is a significant difference on the branding on the tongue there, is that there is that outline around the edge to give it a bit more definition, a bit more pop. Another place where there's a really big change is on the heel. Back up to these guys here. This is one of the reasons why I bought these, is because of the Nike Air branding on the back. I didn't try and get the Nike Chi or Chi, CHI for Chicago pair. I didn't like them. I didn't like that. That small detail was enough to put me off them. And again, if it had been a Jumpman, I don't think I'd have gone for these red cements. But the case of these UNCs, it is a Jumpman, and there is one significant feature about it. Again, I think if you look closely, you'll see it's actually dark blue and not black, but you'd have to have them in hands to really appreciate that. But the significant feature about it is, I want to call it a 3D Jumpman. It's sort of, you know, it's coming off the heel in a 3D effect on there, which is cool, but it's just not Nike Air. You know, a Nike Air on the back of the sneakers is what you really want to get, which is the kind of cool feature, I think, on the back of Air Jordan sneakers, especially 3s and 4s. So a Jumpman for me is just a little bit, even though it's a cool kind of 3D design, it's just a little, you know. But coming down from there, you know, around the heel and around the toe, you've got that cement effect, which is always cool to see. 3s are that's kind of their signature thing, to have that cement effect on there. And then if we go even lower down and onto the outsole, you've got that light blue, and what I again thought was black, but actually when you look real closely, it seems to be a deeper, darker blue on there, grey and white. Now, on this particular shoe, I brought this shoe with me to shoot these videos today, but I didn't bring the pair, I just brought one, and because it fitted in my bag and I didn't want to damage them because I haven't worn them yet, things like that. And it's got, on this pair, it's got, well, this shoe, this is the right shoe of my pair, it's got Nike on the outsole. I don't know what it says on the left shoe, because I didn't really look closely at it. I'm assuming it also says Nike on the left shoe. And what's interesting about these UNC 3s is it says Jordan, at least on one of them. I haven't seen the other one. I'm assuming it says Jordan on both. I don't know for sure. We'll find out when they drop and when we get them in hands. So that's a little difference. So there's a few little differences, subtle differences to the red cement 3s, but also that major difference in the actual colorway itself. At first glance, I was like, yeah, these are sweet. I'm in love with the red cement 3s, and that love is carrying on into the next 3s down the line, which is these UNCs. But then on closer look, I was kind of like gradually sort of pulling away and like, yeah, you know what? The lace stays aren't quite as cool and quite as detailed as these. The heel branding just isn't my thing. The outsole, yes, it's kind of cool, but Jordan or Nike, not really sure. So I've kind of come off of them a bit, and I'm not actually sure if these are something that I want to go after. So for me, in contrast to the red cement 3s, it's not quite as cool a shoe, and that means for me, I'm probably unlikely to go out and buy these guys, especially since yesterday I did a review of Air Jordan 2s, and then the day before Air Jordan 1s, and I've never owned either 2s or 1s, so I'm more likely to go after those guys than these guys, although yesterday's sneaker was a women's sneaker, so I'm not likely to go after that, am I? And I could put a link to that, doing, and you can check out that link at any time that you want to. And then the ones on the day before, that was the pine green ones, which I'm seriously thinking about making my first ever pair of my first ever pair of Air Jordan 1s. So yeah, it's a 1, 2, 3 sort of combination this week with Jordan sneakers coming one after the other. But tomorrow we'll be coming back with a Shoe Butter in-hand rare sneaker, a great pair of LeBron 9s that we'll be showing off tomorrow at the channel in hand, so definitely stick around for seeing that. But for now, it's time for me to sign off, and thank you guys for checking out my content. The last thing I do at the end of every single video is I throw up a playlist which you can click on, and then that'll bring up all the other videos that I've linked in this video, and you'll be able to choose which one you want to go on to next and check out my content. So I'll always throw in that playlist of rare sneakers in hand up right now, and that'll give you access to all the other links throughout this video. But for now, it's time for me to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out my content. But as I do this every single day, that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.